Hello everyone, my name is Olga, and in today's video I wanted to discuss how you can build a birth chart or natal chart and what are the three components that birth chart consists of. I'll go into detail about how you can build it, what are the tools you need, and what are the things you need to in order to accomplish it. So let's begin. Birth chart essentially is a map of the stars or of the sky at the time of your birth, at the place of your birth. And in order to build an accurate birth chart, you need three things: the time, the date, and place of birth. While date and location is usually known to you, the time might be a little bit hard to come by. And there are several things you can do. You can just simply ask your mom for a time of birth, and she is one woman who is most likely remembers when you were born at the time of your birth. And you can also look in birth documents. Sometimes hospitals or birth centers keep that information for years. But the point being, the more accurate your birth time is, the more accurate will be the rest of the chart. And why is it important? The Ascendant is the focal point of your birth chart. While Western astrology focuses on sun sign as the core point of the chart, in Vedic astrology we start with the Ascendant. An Ascendant changes every 2.5 hours approximately. And the degree of the Ascendant is also very important, and I will explain why. Somebody who is born, let's say, in the span of even 2 hours or even 1 hour at 5 degrees of Leo will have a slightly different flavor of personality to somebody who is also a Leo but born at 25 degrees. And the reason being, they will be born under different nakshatras or lunar constellations of Vedic astrology. These are divisions of the zodiac or divisions of the sign that are unique to Vedic astrology, and they define different traits, different personality qualities. And even though both people who are born in a span of 2.5 hours will be rising in Leo, nevertheless, they will have slightly different personality traits. Anyways, all of this to say that the more accurate your time of birth is, the more accurate will be your birth chart. And why would you want to build a birth chart in the first place? Well, since it's a map of your life, of your previous deeds, of your karma, and it will define your qualities, your personality, your gifts, your talents, your special things that you came here to fulfill. The birth chart also will reveal certain hidden blind spots that you might not be even aware of, but nevertheless rule your life. Knowing your chart creates a tremendous amount of self-knowledge and self-awareness. And I think those are the main points why everyone should understand their birth chart, look at it, think about it, reflect on it, in order to use the better parts of themselves. To give you an example, somebody who is born with Mars in the first house might by default be a very aggressive, abrasive, direct person who likes to pick fights and really fiery in nature, really easily angered. Now, if this person knows that they have Mars in the first house, they can do certain things in order to mitigate and use a different vibration of Mars energy, use a different flavor of Mars energy, which is can make a person extremely focused, action-oriented, leader type, a warrior type, somebody who is not afraid to act, and somebody who is extremely focused on achieving their goals and have a tremendous amount of willpower. So basically, knowledge that you have Mars in the first house will give you in a position of a creator. It will give you a choice what side of Mars you would want to use in your life, what side of Mars you would rather employ in life. And this information is stored in your birth chart. So this knowledge gives you a choice of how you want to act and how you want to live your life. And it answers the question, what's the purpose of life? It helps you answer that question. The purpose of life, if you ask me, is to live it to your fullest potential. And birth chart brings you closer to that potential. So where you can build your birth chart, you can do so certainly on my website, olgamixon.com/chart. And I will show you exactly how to do it later on the example chart, or you can just simply Google Vedic Astrology chart. Just make sure when you enter your birth information, you take into account daylight savings, because it can slightly change the ascendant sign. Now, if you build it on my site, you will have a chart in a northern style. There are basically different styles in Vedic astrology of the charts we use. It's northern and southern style, but essentially it's the same information presented differently. I use northern style or diamond chart, and that's the one I have on my website. So once you build your chart, you will look at the three main components. The chart consists of signs, houses, and planets. Let's start with the signs. Signs give qualities to the houses and planets that occupy them. So signs are the how of Vedic astrology. They answer the question how. There are 12 signs. Each sign occupies 30 degrees of zodiac belt. So 12 signs multiplied by 30, and you got your full 360-degree zodiac belt. The signs go in a specific order. They start with Aries, and the last sign is Pisces. And the order is important to remember because it will define which houses fall into which sign. So your ascendant will always fall in the first house at a certain degree in the first house, and your first house will be occupied by a certain sign. And it will make more sense once we look at the example. The next thing is the houses. The houses are answer the question where in Vedic astrology, so they define certain area of life. For example, planet positioned in the second house of your horoscope will point to the area of life related to your family, to your family of origin, to your sense of self-worth, to certain beliefs that you adopted from your family, to your diet, to your mouth, your relationship with money, things like that. So houses are areas of life, and they answer the question where. And the final third component of the birth chart, which actually ties all of the birth chart together, is the planets. The planets are also called the grahas in Sanskrit, and they are considered living beings or deities in Vedic astrology. They are made offerings to, and you can ask things from your planets. So they are the who, or the acting component of the chart. They represent certain things. They are who or what of the Vedic astrology. So, for example, your moon might represent your nurturing, caring ability, your mother, your feelings mind, things you think about by default on everyday basis, and how you tend to think. The sun, for example, will represent the father, the basic side of male energy, your relationship with authorities, your leadership style, etc. So the planets are the who or what of astrology. So to sum up, birth chart, you need three things in order to build your birth chart: the time, the place, and the date of your birth. The birth chart consists of three elements: the houses, the signs, and planets. The ascendant sign is the focal point that you should start reading your birth chart with. And in the upcoming videos, I will make a video about step-by-step instructions on how to read the birth chart and what are the core elements you should be looking at in order to grasp the core of the personality, in order to understand the main points about the person, or if you're doing it for yourself, about yourself.
Read a birth chart for
current time for somebody who is born right this minute, right this second. On my site, you can go to olgamixon.com/chart and enter your name and email address. I'm filming it on August 20th, 2022, and it is 13:07 right now. I'm in Aptos, and we'll give it a second to generate the chart. And the first thing you will do when it's created, you will verify that the latitude and longitude and time zone look correct to you. So next thing, let's look at the chart. This first diamond right here is your first house. The number you see in the corner is the sign that occupies the first house. So, for example, this person has Libra rising and Ketu placed in the first house. Rising means Lagna or Ascendant. It's all the same thing as it's mentioned here. So in Northern style, we'll read the houses in a counterclockwise manner, and the houses are always in the same position. So this is the first house, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Again, these numbers here, they are the signs, and the signs go, as you remember, in a specific order. So if we wanted to read out loud all positions in this chart, it would go like this. The person is Libra rising with Ketu in the first house. Second house is in Scorpio, third in Sagittarius. Fourth house is in Capricorn with Saturn placed in it. This fifth house is occupied by a sign of Aquarius, number 11. Sixth house is occupied by Pisces, and Jupiter is placed in Pisces in the sixth house. Seventh house has Rahu in it, and it's in the sign of Aries. Eighth house has Moon and Rahu in it, and it's in the sign of Taurus. Gemini sign of Gemini occupies the ninth house. Venus is in the 10th in a sign of Capricorn, in the sign of Cancer. Sun and Mercury are in the sign of Leo in the 11th house, and finally Virgo occupies this 12th house. And you can read this chart and check yourself in this table, because this table will outline and spell out for you every planet position, the degree, the sign, house it's in, and the nakshatra, which is a lunar constellation and will be a subject of my upcoming videos. So let's see, the sun, for example, is in Leo in the 11th house, and it's placed right here. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.